I meant to show my dad the pocket you made me because he was like, I'm gonna get a smartphone, so I need something that's not my pocket to put stuff in. And I'm like, and then he left without me showing it to him because I got distracted and wanted to show him all the other stuff I had been working on.
Yeah, I was gonna bring my pockets you sent up to show off, but there will be plenty of pockets, so
Yeah. Every once in a
they
while,
don't have to come up.
I get lucky with the remnants, and I found a good chunk of Mandalorian fabric.
Ooh,
So it's got like a I didn't bring it up, but it's basically got like a shadow kind of version of Mando's helmet, and then also their little um, clan symbol. I can't remember what they're called, but the big thing with the tusks.
okay.
I
I
really
know.
like your that Hufflepuff fabric
hmm
for the pouch. I hadn't seen that one for the pocket.
That was from Joanne's. I got it out of the remnant bin. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the end of it and they were getting rid of it, or if it just was the end of that particular bolt. Um,
Well, I will say if you happen to find Star Trek or like D20, like D&D-ish stuff, I will happily commission a pocket from you for my dad.
D20s, I'm not sure. That might have to be specialty, but Star Trek, I do believe they have Star Trek fabric.
I think my Joanne does
He's
too.
much more of a Trek. Well, he's both. He's a Trekkie and a D&D nerd. So either one is good. Cat, stop trying to kill my
Okay.
speaker.
Which reminds me, I should check my Joanne order. I don't really know when that's coming. The
Yeah,
fabric.
I asked about that at my Joanne's, and Judith, who's like the person I talked to, who was the education coordinator, she was like, I'm not exactly sure about all that. You have to do it online. So I was like, I'm gonna wait till Ember gets hers and see how she likes it.
Yeah. It's neat the way the ordering works. There's kind of a like you can choose whether it's all, square or offset rows of whatever your image is. And you can choose different
Oh,
fabrics. Like you can get canvas and stuff, like duck, I guess, and
oh, nice.
yeah. You guys didn't put the guest name in that I was gonna mention for next week because I don't know his name and you guys do. I left a big blank spot
Hold on.
for the live show reminder.
I got it. I got it. I got it. I
It's
got
so funny.
it.
My friend Lisa is at the theater watching it right now,
Haha!
and I'm like,
Excellent.
hey,
I clicked down there. Thank you very
and I kept
much.
forgetting to tell Rob which guy it is that you guys know, and then we were just watching Scott Johnson playing Resident Evil, which is, if you've never watched that, it's hysterical because he's very, well, he's just scared shitless of everything and very susceptible to jump scares. And like
Oh,
John Jagger is there with him, kind of holding his hand through the whole thing, and he screams and yells, and it's funny. And there was this kind of spooky hallway situation, and Rob is also very squeamish, scared of horror things. So he was like, I don't like this. I don't like this hallway at all. And I'm like, you're not even playing. We're just watching someone play it. And I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to tell you which role uh, Ray and Linda's friend had. Because, yeah, we watched that and we watch horror movies together. And he sits there and he's like,
oh,
So it's
he
just
loves to watch them. He'll turn on horror more often than I am, but he gets all scared. And when we sat down to watch The Conjuring 3, he was like, I'm gonna, I promise I will not be as loud as Scott is.
yeah. Jay's character is it's literally called the linebacker, and it's the guy in the morgue who
Yeah, you
charges
guys
after.
told me at the meeting, and I just remembered to tell Rob which one it was.
yep.
Okay,
Uh,
um.
so I think our levels are good.
Jay tweeted like somebody tweeted something about that particular scene, and Jay like was reacting to it, and let me see if I can find it.
Well, Linda's a little quiet, I think. Test 1.
Test 1, 2.
Yeah, you're
1,
really
2,
quiet.
3, 4.
You're both quiet
hold
compared to
on.
me. I might need to turn
Hold on.
down with my fancy new
I'm turning
mic.
up my volume just a tiny bit. How's
Yeah.
that? Is that any better?
It's
Test 1,
better.
2.
It's still very low. Like when I
Test
talk,
1,
I'm getting up.
2.
I'm right green, not to yellow, and you're way down. Like,
I have more volume that I can turn up.
okay. Because I can also turn probably the Discord volume. And it's not turning me up, just you guys, hopefully.
Okay,
Better?
cat.
A little better?
Okay. What the hell?
Oh, I gotta turn on my actual mic. Do that a little. Alright, I'm still loud and clear. Let me see your voice video. Okay. I think I got it. Let me see. Okay, can I get a few test phrases from you guys?
Sure.
Sure isn't a phrase.
But that.
Anything but that. Oh, I found it.
Nope, you guys are still really low. What the flap?
Well, he messed with that. So the tweet was, this gal going, someone told me the new Conjuring movie wasn't scary. It was actually a love story. So fuck you because I am going to piss my pants. Where's the romance? That man is bloated and rotting and charging at Patrick Wilson like a feral rhino. And Jay answered, why thank you. It's a bit tricky to be truly pachydermic indoors, but I like to think I succeeded there. Sips red wine pretentiously. That said, I couldn't dispel that romance. Get you someone who clings to you the way Ed clings to Lorraine while boggling at my carcass.
That was really good.
That's the type of person he is.
Man, why are you guys so low? Shit. I'm not sure what to do about this. Just you guys are just way lower volume than me.
Yeah, I can.
I mean, Ray's not as low as Linda, but Linda's pretty low. And I've got Discord audio turned up to like 200%, so it's not there. Maybe, I mean, I think.
Push to top. Voice settings. Yeah, I can raise my output some more.
Yeah, do that, please.
Okay, too much?
No?
Okay.
More is good. What's it at right now?
200.
Hmm.
Wait, should I raise my input volume?
You
My
should be able to.
Well, hold on.
Both of mine are max now.
I am up at, my input is 95%. My output, which I believe actually goes to my speakers, is 100. So, or my headphones. So let me just yoink. All right.
Someone have a fan on?
100%.
I've also got background noise I'm trying to find.
Is that any better? Why did my phone just light up? What do you want from me?
Our warranty.
Oh no, my mom's been trying to figure out what cottagecore means. So she's like, so your aesthetic is kind of Glinda the Good Witch meets Esmeralda, and I'm like, yes, that is correct.
Yes.
There you go.
Cat, if you're gonna be up here on my desk, you're gonna get brushed. That's just the way it is.
He does. Every time you turn on to stream, he's like, ooh, this is petting time.
You're right here, and I can lay on your keyboard and have you type like a bajillion periods to everybody in the chat. I'm training him to not jump up when I at least have an art book open. But at this point, he's just anytime I'm at the computer for a while, he's like, "Oh, hey, don't forget about me."
Don't you forget about me.
Meow, meow, meow,
Meow,
meow.
meow.
Dork.
Okay, well, oh. That's weird. Can you hear me? No, I can't hear you. What the
Mine.
There we go.
Technical difficulties.
No, I tried to turn my mic down just to try and get lower where you guys are, and
Yes, if you
it
hear any
went all the way
bumps,
down to mute, so that's not the problem.
that's
Gotcha.
great.
It's just somewhere in... I'll move my mic further away.
Oops.
I think it's picking up my air conditioning, which it really shouldn't. Alright. I guess I'll just have to rely on editing prowess to
Even it.
even it out more. Let me see. There we go. I think we're a little more even. Whatever. We're late. Sorry. Try and do the thing. I'm gonna push the button.
We got perspective, we got the cool, we got the muscle, and you know we effing rule. We are the Geek Grills, we are the Geek Grills. Alright. We got the know-how, we got control, we got the knowledge, and we tell you how it rolls. We are the Geek Grills, we are the Geek Grills. Alright. We are the Geek Grills, we are the Geek Grills tonight. Hell yeah.
Happy Pride Month, everyone, and welcome to episode 199 of Geek Grills. The Geek Grills podcast is primarily supported by our patrons. Please go today to patreon.com/grills to help us out. I'm September, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Linda and Ray.
Hello.
Linda, we didn't hear you.
Oh no, I said hello.
Okay.
Hello.
And I was like, oh no, something happened to the audio, but then I heard Ray, so I don't know.
We just hiccuped.
We're having technical difficulties.
Yay.
Should have a little jingle for it.
So today, we are going to be talking about Pride stuff, our experiences, our views, our props, our support, and in the meantime, what have you been up to this week, Grills? Linda?
Okay, so, okay. I have been out and about a little bit. I went antique shopping with my mom. Um, we were having like a spa day because she was gonna take me to get like a birthday massage in March of 2020. My birthday is March 28th. That was right after quarantine had been called. So she was like, okay, it's fine. Once quarantine is lifted, we'll reschedule. And that was last weekend. So went had a lovely like massage. And then we went out antiquing because I was trying to find a like a wicker shelf. I found something that worked. It's not wicker. It's metal, but it's foldable and it's got lots of pretty filigree. And I painted it white, and it's lovely. So I'm gonna use that for an upcoming market day that I'm going to. But while we were out antiquing, I found a treasure. It is a stained glass teapot lamp.
It looks kind of like a Tiffany lamp with
It's beautiful.
roses.
It's
Tulips.
like it's either like roses or tulips or like daisies. some sort of floral. I don't see like any sort of like stamp on it. It's got a sticker on it. It says made in China. So, it's not Tiffany, but I adore it and I want to find all of the teapot lamps now. The stained glass teapot lamps to be specific. I'm just amassing a small collection of like teapot themed objects. I have a tiny ceramic teapot that is in the shape of a sewing machine that I also got from a thrift store. Um, but I was very happy with that. I saw it from like across the hall from where I was walking, and I was just like, if you are less than $30, you are coming home with me. And it was 26. So I was like, my precious.
It's beautiful.
It's lovely. I love it so much. It's very pretty when it's lit up. So but its plug is over there. I've been making pockets and baby plush blankets for the upcoming market day that I was talking about. So I don't remember if I showed off the froggy, but I have a little frog prince baby
Aw.
blanket,
That
and
is super cute. Oh my gosh.
I have a princess bear, like a ballerina bear almost,
Aw.
and an oliphant or an elephant.
Oh, holy cow. How much are those?
The little one is gonna be 20, and the big ones are 40 because
Okay.
these are big boys.
Yeah.
Ugh. And
I
then
have a friend with a BB.
and then these are the pockets that I have completed right now. There's a bunch more downstairs that I haven't finished because I was going through and just sewing all of the pockets with the black thread all the pockets I could with black thread, because then I'll have to change the thread out of my machine and that's a pain in the ass. So I was just like, do all the ones you can with black first and then start changing colors. So I've got a little bookworm pocket. It's got books with little bookworms on it. This one, I made the bias tape out of fabric that I had. So it's hello cat. Can you not right now? I'm doing show and tell. Later. Come back later. um I tried to mix some patterns. So the pocket itself is butterflies, and then the outer little strip is also fabric instead of bias tape, but it's like polka dotted.
Okay, yeah.
So I wanted to try something different and weird, and if it not weird but different. If it doesn't sell, I will keep it. I have one that has kitty cat faces on it and little hearts and dragons, little adorable fat dragons,
Aw. Little castle.
little castles, little fat dragons. Um, But I was telling the girls earlier before we were recording that it just like my ADD just latched on to making pockets. That's all I did all weekend besides like going out and like doing antiquing with my mom. It was just like, you know what you're going to do? You're going to sit down in your craft room for 12 hours and sew pockets.
Hyper focused.
Yeah. Hyper focus. It's a thing.
Yep.
But that's basically what I've been doing. Oh, and working on some commissions. I have a head.
Head.
Here's a ship's head.
More Pokemon body parts. It's one of the things we do on this show.
Yep.
What about you, Ray? What have you been up to?
Let's see. Um, I ended up going to the Georgia Renaissance Festival with my dad yesterday, so that was the last day of our local fair. And that was fun. He hadn't been since the last time I took him, which was a couple of years ago now, because I was still playing Fractured. I don't even, yeah, at least 5 years, if not more at this point. Um, but that was fun. I wasn't, it was kind of a surprise when he asked me uh, if he could go with me, because he had been in a very bad car accident and kind of destroyed his hip, and that had to be remade. and there was long time of physical therapy and one of those little chairs that get you up and down the stairs kind of thing for a while. But no, he was good. He didn't have. We took a couple of breaks, but he didn't need a cane or anything, so that was good. But I thought about asking my mom, but there's no way that we would have a mobility scooter able to get around through there, so that was a no go. But yeah, no, it was good, and I gotta say hi to some folks. Missed some other folks, but that's okay. And because it was just ridiculously hot, we ended up tapping out at about 2:30. We got there at 10, and usually the gates open at 10:30, but I don't know if it was because of last day or if they just, but they let us in at 10:15 this time. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's what we're doing now. Let's see. I've been working on more Aberrant stuff, which is basically my obsession the previous weekend, rebuilding my character for the upcoming game that Scott with Simulacra Studios is going to run. So today's current, well, not today, but this past weekend's current obsession has been making a sprite version. So I'm going to try to animate her. I haven't done this in forever, and I'm using a Scott Pilgrim animated base because they're cute. I like the style, and this is just for my own personal thing. And I'm giving full credit to everybody who worked on the Scott Pilgrim versus the World game because they did an amazing job with those sprites. And I can't make sprites by hand. I've tried. It's terrible, but I can recolor them. So right now I got a cute little version of her just doing like the V for victory. So I'm gonna try and now start doing all the other scenes to get her to do the V for victory. I
It'll
don't
be
know why.
adorable. It'll
I
be
don't know
adorable.
why I thought this would be a good thing. I think I forgot how tedious it was when I did the ones for FOD. Uh, and then caught up on some movies. Watched The Conjuring 3, of course. Do recommend. Is spooky and good, and I had not seen the previous Conjurings, so they're not needed. I just watched Into the Heights today, which was really good, and I wasn't anticipating 2.5 hours, but now I feel less bad for kind of getting that antsy midway through and be like, how long is this? Like, pause and just take a break and like, oh, okay. But it was good. The songs are different, but good. It's still the same songs, but like kind of updated from the play version, or yeah, theater version. And then I finally saw the Bo Burnham new special that's on Netflix, Inside. And if you want to know where all those songs on TikTok are coming from, it's that special. And they're really good, and that special will make you feel feels.
Mhm.
Also, Bo Burnham is super hot. Like, good God, he knows what he's doing. Like, Scott's like, yeah, apparently somebody made a list of like all the times Bo Burnham puts on a Dom voice, and I'm like, no, he does a lot through that.
Oh.
He's doing something. He knows what he's doing. Like, one of the songs is "Daddy made you some content," and I'm like, sir. And then he has like another song where he's just like wet and shirtless, and I still like guys. Yeah, no,
I,
that yeah, guys are definitely still a thing.
so I was confused because I saw the highlight, recommendation for it, and oh, I saw the recommendation for it, and it looked like sad. Like he's laying there, like oh, and then it's like, but is it a comedy special? I'm confused. What is happening?
It's both.
Okay.
It
I
is
did
definitely both.
I did forget to mention because it shows you where my brain is. I did actually finally watch the second season of the Transformers War for Cybertron while I was making pockets. Which is great because the third season's coming out in July, so I did it on purpose. Sure.
There you go.
Anyway, what have you been up to, Ember?
Yeah.
I got a pull saw. Can I tell you how pull saws are awesome? Like, I like to use my chainsaw. Now I have a chainsaw on a stick.
Honestly. Sounds
So,
only slightly dangerous, but okay.
well, no, it's only like, 8 inches or so, and it's very far from you, and it has safety straps and a quick release and stuff. But we had a lot of landscaping that required such a tool. And it's a whole lot less dangerous than me getting onto a ladder with a chainsaw, which is what I normally do. Um, but
You have a point
for
there.
a lot of smaller branches, because we've got all this stuff planted and we have beautiful, like, black and purple gladiolus coming up, but some of the areas of our lawn have ended up being a little too shady, so they're super tall and then they blossom and they fall over from the weight. So we've been clearing out a lot of branches and overgrown stuff with that, and it's been awesome. Um, so yeah, that was my workout yesterday instead of going to the gym. I got a new cookbook. I was shopping for other things, like, oh, I got a new mic. My old trusty Yeti Blue. If somebody wants it, great. Because it works great, and I finally had it sounding great. But I've had this the whole time. I got this right after I started podcasting, so it's been a good 5 years. But the just the headphone jack, and a lot of people monitor through other devices, so it wouldn't matter. But I really like to monitor directly from the microphone, and that jack is screwed up. And I mean, it's been 5 years. I deserve a mic. So I did a bunch of shopping, and I was getting that, and I noticed that the Feast of Ice and Fire Game of Thrones cookbook that has been on my wish list for years dropped in price. So I was like, wham, I got that. And I haven't had a lot of time to spend with it, but one really neat thing I did notice and I'm excited about is this is going to be total food nerding. The recipes have, like, a medieval, like, an excerpt from the book, so you know where this recipe is coming from, where it's mentioned, and then a medieval version from how these things were originally, enjoyed during that time, and then a modern version. So I'm going to be making all kinds of weird stuff and have to feed people because my family doesn't eat, I, there's one other person in the house that might eat something like pork pie.
That's delicious.
I watched Murder Among the Mormons, and I have to tell you guys, if you haven't seen it, this is a really cool documentary. It came up because Jury watched it, and he was asking Scott about it, Scott Johnson from Frog Pants, because Scott grew up Mormon in that area during that time. It's about the murders that took place, the pipe bombing murders that happened in the 80s. In Utah, in Salt Lake City. And it is incredibly fascinating because it's based around this whole intrigue with document collectors and how the church got involved with, documents that might undermine people's belief in, the other texts that Joseph Smith supposedly wrote and such. And so there's a lot of that going on, but the whole story gets more and deeper and deeper and more interesting. And I when they finally caught the guy, it's like, wow, because there's interviews, you can actually a lot of dialogue of him being interviewed by the parole board or something, and for being such this great guy everybody loved and no one suspected, was really psychotic, really sociopathic, like
Crazy
just
pants?
always, like, I mean, it turns out you've lied to people and done these things like your whole life is. Well, I mean, it wasn't really lying. It's just kind of experimenting on them, like very calm. I mean, his wife had no idea this was going on, and it was like years and years and hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of forgeries and document trading. And I'm going to be doing some of my own research because this is kind of spoilery, sorry everybody, but it's been out a little while. I want to look up what else he forged, because this story is very much around the church documents and, real ones and fake ones, and how him deciding to murder people happened Um, but there's
When does
apparently a
one
whole bunch of
decide
other
to
stuff
start
he did.
murdering?
Hmm?
When does one decide to start murdering?
Yeah.
Important question.
We,
Very important question.
I found a cool Frozen find. There's a new secondhand store in town. I love resale stores. So I went in there, and it's like an Easter basket. It's like a box with a ribbon handle, and it has Easter straw in it, but the straw was blue, and it's got Elsa and Anna on it, but it says like Happy Summer Solstice on it.
Oh,
I was like,
cool.
this is odd and awesome. Um, and I bought it for my friend Megan and her little sister. They're like friends of the family and live around the corner, and like they're the ones I think I told you around Christmas time. Like their mother was looking for witchy cookbook recommendations from me, so I got them that. And what else? My a friend of mine that I will be meeting up with in Vegas when I go to the Jen's wedding, that I used to make music with back in the 80s, has recovered a bunch of ancient recordings and remastered them and sent me a few MP3s. And wow, that was interesting. So I will maybe put a snippet somewhere at some point. But when I visit him, I'll be getting a disc with all of the stuff that he's recovered from those days. But yeah, he sent me some on Facebook, and I was laughing at myself. But good memories. And my son got engaged.
Hooray!
Yay! Um, I posted pictures on Facebook. I'm easy to find if people are friends with me. But boy, did he pick the right spot. Like they were hiking, and there's waterfalls and beautiful, and their roommate was with them, and she had a good camera, and he told me he'd been thinking about it. He's been telling me about it for, I don't know, probably at least a year, but he popped the question in a beautiful setting, so we're all getting ready for that now.
Aww.
It won't be until like next fall, but I am super excited. And then I had a very, very stressful few days because he took until like yesterday. I think he finally called the rest of the family bit by bit, and I couldn't say anything anywhere or talk about it. So let's talk about Pride. It is officially Pride Month here in the United States. Whee! And I've been celebrating in my own little way. My small town is having its first Pride ever on Sunday. So that's a little weird because and it's funny, it's a small town, so people keep coming up to me to ask me about it when I go somewhere, just under the assumption that I must be the one organizing such a thing. Like, no, I'm not. I don't. You're gonna have to ask the organizer. The only thing I know is what I read. They're meeting over in front of the college there at like 2. I don't know the route. I don't know if they're actually parading or waiting to see who shows up. I know. All I know is the same thing you read on Facebook. But if I were organizing, I probably would not have put it on Father's Day.
Ah.
That's a little awkward, not the best way to maybe draw a crowd of people that already have plans.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to put it on Saturday because it's Juneteenth. I don't know.
Yeah, that too, and there's a Juneteenth
Yeah.
celebration that they do already have in my town. But
It's really funny that they're like, yes, you are the knowledgeable one. You must know what's going on.
well, I'm known for like organizing events and the whole politics thing, and I'm pretty out. Like I wear my Access for Everyone transgender pride shirt out to bars all the time, and my LGBTQ pride Democrats one from my caucus that I help create all the time, just in public. And
You should run for mayor.
I taught. It's like I got some volunteers to help me run the booth at our Juneteenth. That was a weird thing. Because, like, I think Juneteenth is an amazing thing, and the Democratic Party, when I was part of it here, didn't know what it was, and then so I guess we have to have a booth there, like, you understand. And then I got some friends of mine to, like, volunteer and help man the table with me, and my friend Sean sent me this younger guy, Preston, and I was like, well, cool, because, I mean, the more people of color, the better, the booth with me. And then Preston didn't know what it was. And I was like, dude, he knows everybody in the neighborhood, he knows everybody in all these businesses, and sometimes he didn't know what Juneteenth was. But now he runs like youth, like what is it? Young executives, business and community in the area that helps promote black folks in business roles and things like that, and young people, and educates them. And it's so funny because every time I run him, he tells people, he's like, this white lady taught me what Juneteenth was. So, I don't know. I would have picked another weekend. But we'll see. I should probably find out who's organizing it. And I can't go because I have plans. I will be out of town overnight Saturday, and I don't think I'm going to make it back by 2 I'm going Friday. No. Yeah, I won't be back by 2 on Sunday, so we'll see. Anyway, the reason it's in June is because it was kind of started to commemorate. Originally, it wasn't a celebration; it was a commemoration of the Stonewall riots.
History.
Hmm?
Is it a little history for you?
Yeah, a little
Yep.
history for you, but it's evolved a lot over time because it only took a few years before places like Chicago, some bigger cities, started having actual. It's turned from having marches and very, very political, visible demonstrations to for gay rights and affirmation and equality, but it switched to a lot of celebrating pride. And I'm trying to look because I found a much better article than what I'm looking at that kind of explains that. Shoot. But I mean, you guys are young enough that it's always been a celebration, right? It's always been
Well,
Pride.
So I wasn't kind of aware of Pride even going on until after college, and I don't know if that's just because I had a very sheltered upbringing. Like I didn't even know Dragon Con was in our state until high school. So
Mm.
Yeah,
And-
I'm a bit older, but I don't actually remember hearing about Pride until college. Um, and I don't know. I remember when I was younger, like, because I grew up in the '80s, so like, AIDS was everywhere, and that pandemic and epidemic, pandemic. It was worldwide. Uh, but like we had friends who, so I'm like, I don't know. I never knew about like it as far as like an event until much later. I actually just looked up why Atlanta Pride is during October because that's when ours is. And apparently it's been in October since 2008. Typically, so it can be on a weekend closest to National Coming Out Day. Um,
also it's
apparently, Atlanta has been
hot.
doing Pride since '71.
It's hot in Atlanta.
It is also really
Yeah,
hot.
that's the thing. Like the official Pride, month that is designated by governments. Well, although by the way, only 3 presidents have ever actually declared Pride Month: Clinton, Obama, and Biden.
Yeah.
Trump recognized it, but it was just a tweet. So it's actually only ever been declared Pride Month by 3 presidents officially. So there are a lot of loosey goosey things around there. A lot of the demonstrations. I mean, I didn't start going to Pride parades until I was probably 17 or 18, the end of high school, beginning of college. But I did know about more about things like, and you would still see more of it then, like the pink triangles and stuff. But some of us, you learn about that because that symbol comes from the Holocaust. I still don't understand the lambda one, honestly. I never spent the time to research all that. But yeah, excuse me. But it's been a really like so they co-opted that along the way, but you still don't see it very much except on the occasional T-shirt design. Rainbows really, really took off,
Mhm.
which
Well, they're bright and happy and colorful, and especially when it became more of a celebration, you know, it's
I have a funny story
uh-oh.
related.
okay.
So I think I was young. It was the 80s still. So we were downtown in Atlanta um, at a New Age shop, and next door they had this cool shop. Well, maybe it was early 90s because I was able to like wander around by myself for a bit. But they had this cool shop, and the front was just rainbow everything. And I'm probably like 12 or 11, and I am just immediately drawn into the storefront with all the beautiful rainbows. And then I'm just like looking around, I'm like, "Oh. Oh, this has like men this has like greeting card section, but all the guys are topless except for like little bikini briefs and like cheeky little things." And they like start to look around like, "Oh, they've got lots of cool stuff in here. They've got a whip like Catwoman and all kinds of stuff." And at that time, my mom found me. She's like, "Okay, we're getting you out of here. This is not your store." I'm like, "But I want to stay. It has all the rainbows and all the cool leather stuff." And she's like, "Shut up and go outside." I'm like, okay.
It
I don't know. It
happens.
Poor
just,
Kelly.
I had no
Poor
idea.
little Ray.
I had no idea. And then, like, at one point, my mom's like, "Do you remember that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I remember you wouldn't let me stay in the rainbow store for some reason."
And now you know.
Didn't wanna know.
I learned a really interesting thing today that I didn't know about the gay and lesbian kingdom of the Coral Sea Islands. Have you heard of this?
No.
So I looked it up to make sure this was true because it was, first came to me in a meme, but there's some senator who's like, we should be protesting the pride flag being displayed in our public spaces. And I'll tell you, and there's been a lot of that here. I have a lot of, they've been, there aren't any pride flags flying in my town except on people's property, but some towns in North Carolina have been trying to put them up, like every other flag downtown or whatever, and people are tearing them down. People are marching around with their rebel flags or traitor flags, like, yeah, because they think that's an appropriate response. But apparently, the senator thinks, this is inappropriate for us to be displaying on any government property because it's from a kingdom that is a war or has declared war on an enemy of ours because they have declared war on Australia. So,
What?
Huh?
apparently, in 2004, there is a gay and lesbian kingdom of the Coral Sea Islands, and their flag, it's a micronation, it's classified as. They use the the pride flag as their flag. Their anthem is "I Am What I Am." Um, what's the Gloria Gaynor, right? Sings that.
Mhm.
And so Australia had a ban. They wouldn't recognize same-sex marriages. Like you couldn't get married there, but then like they wouldn't recognize them if you were married elsewhere and came there. So in 2004, a bunch of gay rights activists got on like a boat and swam out to or went out to this little. There's a bunch of little on islets around the Great Barrier Reef. And it was literally like a bunch of sand and some grass, and they planted a flag and they declared it the gay and lesbian kingdom, and they now it says it was dissolved in 2017, but like they have a post office. It's like a mailbox on the piece of sand I saw a picture of earlier. Like saying welcome to our kingdom, and they had this a king, Dale Parker Anderson, that they declared, and then he was emperor for a little while, which isn't in the story I'm looking at right now, but because there was something with he could have been charged with treason. If they had just called him, they were going to call him the administrator of the country. So, but he could have been charged with treason. But if he were like royalty, trying to claim his rights in his place in Australian law, then he couldn't be charged with treason. So they went ahead and gave him like a regal title. But anyway, it was a really, really cool story.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I like. Oh, they have a whole little Wikipedia article about it.
Yeah, and it looks like it says it was dissolved in 2017 following a yes vote in the Australian marriage law postal survey legalizing gay marriage. So they kind of just quit making as big a deal out of it when they got what they wanted. But from June 2004 to November 2017, there was a whole gay and lesbian kingdom off the coast of Australia. What an amazing way to peacefully protest, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's like, all right, you don't. We're gonna leave. Bye.
Bye.
Our own little nation.
So I have
Also, I just.
What?
The whole thing with like them taking down the rainbow flags. I'm like, don't you have anything better to do?
Yeah. They really apparently don't. And it's sad. I stuff like that, it's rough. But it's getting better. I mean, I feel like those are small handfuls of people for the most part. I mean, you've got a few little towns where the old guard is ingrained enough in their administrations and in their office holders that they can't get this stuff done. But I know legislators who are trying to fix all that, and we're finally electing some younger people, and it'll fix all that because it's more and more normalized as it should be. We're allowed to exist. And very sensitive to that. I mean, being by that whole erasure thing, like, oh, well, I mean, even within the community, sometimes like, oh, you're just greedy, or or you get I'm married, so, oh, you're, not bi anymore. Like, no, that's not how this works. And having had it, from family, like, just, oh, you're asexual now when I broke with my girlfriend. Like, why? Why would you say some ignorant shit like that? So that, I think, leads into, and we don't have a ton of time, but I know we all have been interested in, I've been seeing a lot about rainbow capitalism. And I think it's a very interesting way to frame all of what's going on. And it fits right into the way this has shifted from, we're still fighting for rights, we're fighting for equality, we're fighting for recognition. And the marches and the parades are different but wrapped up together now, and we can be more visible. And this rainbow capitalism, to me, most of what I've seen, I understand. All right, the definition, the easiest way to define this for people that don't understand is Pride Month comes and a bunch of companies just change their logos to show rainbows, but they're not actually doing anything for the community, and so they're just profiting off of the backs of the community, and it's just evil. However, that is, I feel, wildly oversimplified, because for several reasons. Yeah, there's a lot of that, and that kind of sucks. But people who are just screaming and yelling about it aren't often looking into the deeper issues. Um, like people, there was Converse has some Pride sneakers out, and everybody started just all you could see in the comments was the normal outrage that comments on the internet draw of, oh well, you don't do anything, do you? You're just taking money and it's assuming. But anybody who clicked a few clicks down on the actual advertisements or who had bought them saw that they gave to several different Trevor Project and like 4 or 5 other LGBT promoting and assisting organizations. And then, but as comments threads do, they were like, oh, well, yeah, but they're just going to write that off. And that's not, is it proceeds from the sale or is it just they're going to at some point do that? And it's, they just give to it all the time. So why are they putting out this design now? It's like, wait, so rather than they give to these organizations all the time, all year long, they shouldn't at fucking all because you don't want it to be the way where it only comes from the proceeds of the sneakers, but then they give all the time and that's still not good enough. It was so much of the lash I saw, the lashing out about it was disingenuine. It was just the professionally outraged doing their thing, and that ends up hurting the community. Like, I like to buy a nifty Pride thing to wear but more often than not, I'll get a shirt that supports the organizations that's throwing the event, for instance. Yes, it's always better to support local, but like Wells Fargo is one around here that has an awful lot of visibility during Pride, but they also sponsor the whole weekend, Pride we have here in Charlotte, and ours isn't until fall either because it's too fucking hot here to have it in June. And Bank of America, like, oh, and they're just slapping a rainbow on stuff. It's like, yeah, but they also gave me a shopping bag with their logo and a rainbow, and that might not seem like anything but promoting them for free, except it does. I'll be carrying it around for years and years, and it normalizing it and being visible, and that we can be marketed to, and that they would even stick their neck out because some rednecks close their shit down when they see that. So it's not gonna. It feels good to be recognized as having value. Problematic things are more like Ray sent an article, and I mean, that person was a little over the top, but I totally saw their point about they really screwed up with that game. If you want to talk about that with the they made a special event in a video game and Warner Brothers DC, and it was like a contest to see how many times you could kill Poison Ivy.
Yep. They wanted to get everybody together. It was for Injustice 2.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to do a challenge that they called Love Conquers All, where all the players get together and beat up Poison Ivy 500,000 times during Pride Month. And the player who does it the most gets a large reward. Now,
oops.
Maybe this would have been a good idea if it wasn't Poison Ivy.
Who is like one of their most recognized, like,
bisexual characters.
Characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
guys,
like, her and Harley are a thing. Like, you know this. You promoted it before.
Yeah. And it was a big oops. And the person who put that video out had a good point in that if they hired more, like, all of those development companies and movie producers and whatever. Well, I mean, but to act like Disney doesn't have any gay people on staff is ridiculous. I mean, I've worked for them. But they should definitely consult for any Pride-themed event. Like, it's insane to not consult with somebody in the community about it. Could it still have been overlooked, though? Because, I mean, what are the playable characters? Because Batwoman's a lesbian, was Could you play her beating up Poison Ivy? Like, was it? It really
You
could
could play
have been
Harley Quinn
over.
beating up Poison Ivy.
Hmm.
You could play Harley doing it,
Yeah.
beating up Poison Ivy. Like,
So.
guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, oops. Don't beat up,
Yeah. Maybe
an
don't.
LGBTQIA plus person as an event and call it Love Conquers All during Pride. But then again, I mean, do we look at things like
I'm still what theme is I can't
yeah, naming it that is weird as hell.
Yeah, no, like.
I mean, if
It
it was
just
just
is
beat
one
up a bad
person.
guy, that's what happens sometimes, right? But
Just one person. Say something.
so it should have fucking occurred to somebody. Like, although I don't know, I might have been stupid enough to go, "Oh no, it's a great no," because if I was looking at it as a Pride event and saying that's a great idea, it would have definitely hit me very quickly. Because I mean, there are still an awful lot of problems with people getting beat up for who they are. I had within the last couple of years an incident where I saved someone from that. So yeah. um, so that's like the dark turn. That's the okay, rainbow capitalism. Like, I think that was one of the best points I have seen about it. Like, definitely need to hire just more out, and as more normalization and visibility comes into play, if we actually do a better job with equal employment, um, you know, because there are bits of that still are not federal, so the folks can be discriminated against. Like, we need to take care of that shit, and then it'll be like easier to find and hire, because you can say like, hey, we need an LGBTQ person for this position, or to go ahead and create your own business and be a consultant for such things, offer your services to all these different entertainment companies and whatever, without being attacked because you're the face of it. You know, we need more of these protections under the law to make everything better for everyone.
Yep.
Right? That'd be a cool job.
I watched a thing about somebody went through the Target Pride collection that they have, and it's just like, and there was a funny video, and like one of his comments was like, who who is the gay intern who told you that, like, signed off on this? Because I don't think they exist, because some of these are cute, some of these are nice, some of these are just tacky, and not in the happy fun like David Waters tacky, just tacky.
I
Just,
mean,
like,
to
keep
each
thinking
their
about
own.
that.
I mean, it would be lovely if all Pride merchandise something went to an organization that helps the community, but I mean, that's not possible. We're using damn
Proceed
rainbows.
or partial even.
Yeah, but more of it does than people realize. I don't think it's worth getting just outraged every time you see some company that has, yeah, they made their logo a rainbow. Okay, well, but why don't you go look, and maybe they actually have sponsored their local Pride celebrations or given to those organizations, because 3 out of 4 times I've gone ahead and looked in the last week while I've seen people yelling about this, 3 out of 4 times money has been being put into the community. So I'm not gonna automatically get outraged. I'm not that person. But for the person who doesn't like to read past headlines, it might be worth at least taking a deep breath instead of getting angry and deciding on the side of, like, being kind, that some of us are really enjoying the visibility and the normalization, and people are gonna, like, not punch you for wearing that shirt because they know what it is now and they hear more of these stories. I mean, I didn't like it when I realized I was they were putting my music in car commercials either. Like, oh fuck, I'm a demographic, right? But
I was talking about looking up Joanne's because I spend a lot of time there. Has a lot of Pride merchandise this year, and they are partnering with GLSEN, Gelson. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that or if it's just the letters. It's a national organization to support young people in the LGBTQ plus community. They have committed, so they're proud to have committed $25,000 to this important cause, as well as additional locations to local organizations that support LGBTQ plus in our communities.
cool.
And they have a learn more button. So
See, then
Yeah,
more
Target
things
is
I don't
also
have to
doing their
boycott.
10th year supporting Gelson GLSEN as well.
yeah.
So as much crap as I give it, I did get happy seeing that they had some bi pride stuff. It's like, oh yay!
And if nothing else, it's an opportunity. If you do find a company that is slapping rainbow colors or selling Pride merchandise and not giving any proceeds, approach them about it. I mean, you can threaten them if you like. I'm gonna tell everybody you ain't giving
No,
nothing.
approaching them is probably better than me. I was doing the shame thing.
Yeah.
in Game of Thrones.
Oh no, make it better. We can fix it. Like, hey, do you know about X, organization? Find your local one. I think they'd really appreciate if you give them some of that money. Otherwise, this isn't cool, and I'm telling everybody. So anyway, if you have your own ideas, want to share your Pride stories, we are there for you. Chime in by emailing us at geekgrills@gmail.com. If you wish, you can also tweet us at geekgrills. So what are you both anticipating most right now?
Well, on Saturday we're having our first return to in-person LARP. It's a 1 day, and it's for Garden of Destinies, and we're playing characters that we played over the pandemic in your virtual space. We had a couple of virtual games. Um, this is kind of like the wrap up to that storyline before we get back into full 3 days. So we'll see how that goes. I have costuming. I've got my character sheet already. I have a mask that's appropriate for the character. And we'll see how I deal with that many people. I don't know how many people are actually coming. I think somewhere around the mid 20s. So we'll see. We'll see if my gremlin. That's not the right word. Sometimes it's difficult for me to leave the house because I don't like crowds anymore. So we'll see what happens with that. And making more pockets.
Yay,
Because
pockets. How about you, Ray?
Excellent. Right. Yeah, I'm also equally psyched about the ATE event, or not ATE, the Gods event. Oh, brain, wrong LARP. So I think I even put in, but yeah, I'll be there monstering that. So I get to just rar. And then that same day we're having a mini family get together. So hopefully over brunch, so I can still come down and help out with the game. And then we're just getting the house like guest ready since a year of pandemic depression kind of. Yeah, so we're just fixing the house so we can have people over for happy fun puzzle times and game nights and just just nice stuff. So
I like puzzle times.
I have a huge puzzle game that I still
Cool.
haven't finished yet. So when Scott cleaned off because we were using his table for it, but it that actually wasn't the best table to use, and I'm like, I'm just gonna commandeer like the floor space out here to finish it. I'm very excited.
Yeah,
And then I will shut up because Aberrant is also this Thursday, and I'm super psyched to finally play this character. All right, I'm done. How about you, Ember?
Okay. Yeah, I feel you. I gotta get the house inside ready too, because people have only been to fires and inside for the occasional bathroom break. I'm like, I gotta move a lot of stuff if we're gonna play games. Um, but hopefully, a writing gig. Hopefully, sorta. So if you want to check it out, if you go to terravalanta.com, it's an RPG, and I was approached with another group of people of like, hey, do you have DM experience? Do you write? Do you like sci-fi? You want to try to write some modules for us? So, like 5 cents a word, I'm gonna give a go at writing some mods for this game. I have a contract. I have a meeting coming up. I'm a little nervous because it's just kind of like I'll take a look at the world and see if I get inspired and hopefully I'll write something. And now it's just like it's the Discord and it's the meetings and it's the wiki and the contract to look at. And I'm like, oh my god, this is real. I feel like I have to write something now or just disappear entirely. So hopefully I sit down and do that because if it works, I'm excited. That would be a cool thing to do. I'm going away, as I mentioned, to Asheville next weekend, which is awesome. I haven't been to Asheville since a good time before the pandemic, but I love it there and I miss it. And hotels have gotten really expensive. Good. Which sucked. So I hit Airbnb. But we've also we have money that goes into savings every check so we can once a month have an overnight somewhere, and we haven't used it for so long. I was like, screw it, we're getting this themed 50 Shades ish deco B&B rental in Asheville, so I'm really excited about that. And there was something else I want to mention, don't remember what it is. Oh well, cooking stuff for my new book. So remember, folks, you can always come watch us record live at twitch.tv/geekgrills on most Monday evenings. Our next one will be on the 21st of June at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and we'll be talking about the movie The Conjuring 3, which I've seen all of, actually. Rob was like, oh yeah, we saw that. That's one with Annabelle. I'm like, oh. So we're going to have a special guest, Jay Peterson, who is in the movie and is a friend of Linda and Ray. Yay!
The best.
Yep. And in addition to the subs and bits that we get on Twitch, we are supported by our amazing patrons. You are the greatest girlfriends on the internet. You can become a patron at www.patreon.com/grills. And if you have Amazon Prime, you can sub us for free every month on Twitch.
And another way to show your support is by leaving us a review. You can do so on any of your podcast catchers. Leaving a review is free, and they help our ranking, which helps other people find our podcast. You can also join our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter if you'd like to help spread the word.
And where can we find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitch and Instagram under the name madcap_misc. That's MISC. You can check out my website store at madcapm.com.
You can find me on Instagram under DappleDame and on Twitch as Ray Ino.
And I can be found at 9 of 12 on Twitter and Twitch. You can also hear me on the Heresy and Hearsay podcast and find all of Jen's stuff at thejensays.com because she owns it. Thanks for listening, everyone. Good game!
GG!